We now return to part 2 of the return of the real creepy doll man from Louisville, Kentucky, and his true story, still untold. The second coming. Part 2 begins now. Okay, as I said earlier, that Sissy brought us a lot of stuff, and she brought us trash bags full of goodies. The first one she brought us was about 20 to 30, somewhere around 30, I think, trash bags at least, if I counted it right. I might have miscounted. It might be 20 or 25. But we couldn't tell what was in the garbage bags because they were black. Sort of like a cheap Hefty bag, really cheap. You had to tear them open to see what was in them. Now, some of them contain broken stuff, as well as they contain stuffed animals with bears. And we found doll clothes. We found like doll clothes for bears. The last one was a real puzzle because when we opened them up, we found certain ordeal of dolls. And there were porcelain dolls. Plus, there were plastic ones in there as well. And, I opened up a couple of those bags. I pulled them out. My mom took the very first 4 porcelain dolls for herself. My mother. I saw one particular that I picked out of that bag that I took out for myself, that it caught my eye because of what she looked like. And I'm going to bring my girl back in the shop because I decided to bring her back for this reason. Now, this was the doll I pulled for that bag. And I can tell you this. She didn't have no bloomers on, no dress, no socks, and no shoes. Not alone the stand. So what I did was went back in there, I looked around in there. What I found was some bloomers for the doll, and I found a dress that can barely fit the doll, but since she's so slim, she can fit in at least a 16-inch dress or longer. And then I found her a stand that I put her on first. That was the first thing I found out of the bag before I found the dress and the bloomers. Now the socks, I had them custom made, and I had to make them for her because she didn't have no socks. As you can see, I used black thread for them, if you can see here. Because I didn't have the right thread, a black thread that I sew and make these socks myself. And I had to customize them just for this doll only. And the shoes I found off another doll and then put them on her and trade them out. And then the cross, I found the cross, but then I made the necklace. I had to customize it, and what I did is tie it around the jump ring. And then I'd use a little bonding plastic to glue it on it. Or it's sort of bonding, plastic to put it on her like glue. It's sort of a histor that you have to use this UV light to harden it with. But that's another deal. But sad to say that things have been happening around this doll, and not very good things when I had her the first time. And when I had her since June the 4th of 2016, the first 2 weeks I had her, nothing happened. Second 2 weeks after that, something happened. I didn't get anywhere about less than probably, I would say, 10 to 20 inches away. I was 10 or 20 inches away from the doll. And every time I got around the doll, I felt sort of drained of energy for the last 3 days in a row. The third day I got drained was totally different. I was so tired, I went to sleep and I forgot to turn the light off in here. What happened was I went to sleep. It was a hot day that month. It was really hot. We didn't have the air on here, the air condition. So I had to sleep in my shorts. And what happened was I felt somebody kissing on me. The next thing I know, I woke up and there was nobody in this room. So, that was the first occurrence. And then I had other problems down the road. I also been attacked by this doll at least 5 times. Okay, the first time I was attacked, I felt something hovering over me in my bed while I was sleeping. We finally decided to turn the air on, and I was attacked underneath my covers and comfort by something slapping me in midair. I couldn't see it because this room is completely dark when you turn out the lights. But other than that, this is not the first attack. The second attack was different. It nearly pulled my arm back on my right arm and tried to break my wrist while I was sleeping on my right side. And after that, You know, it got a little bit more non-aggressive the next night. It got in bed with me. It went underneath the cover and the comfort and went underneath there somehow. And it got up inside the bed. And it got up around me. And it caressed me like something did. And I didn't know what was going on in the bedroom. I couldn't tell what it is. It woke me. I looked quickly, tried to turn around. It was dark in here. The next night it did the same thing, but a little different. It got in bed with me again, whatever it was. It put its arms around me like before, like caressed me before. But this time it got a little angry and violent. It started pulling me back. And I had to quickly, it woke me from my sleep. And you couldn't see nothing here anyway if you could. It was pitch black. And I turned around and tried to see, and I couldn't see nothing. As I was trying to look, it kept pulling me back so it wouldn't let me look. And I can tell you it wasn't no dream. And the next time I got attacked was 4 days before Christmas. This is when I got a little bit of into it with my cousin. His name is Bobby. We got into it for Christmas time. It got ugly. He decided to go, and he didn't come back for a very long time. And then after that, 4 days before Christmas, by December the 20th of 2016, I was attacked. This time more violently. Whatever was in my room attacked me. It kneed me in the chest as it was choking me at the same time. And this went on for at least 1 to 2 minutes before it stopped. And then I thought it would stop. And sad to say, I thought it was over. But after that, January the 1st of 2017, it came back. So whatever came back in here, came back. It reintroduced itself before I went to bed by scratching on the posts. Then the next morning I woke up, I heard like hands pounding up and down on my bed. From the very end of this bed, all the way down towards where my pillow is. It sounded like two hands pounding very hard on the bed, trying to get me up. I was laying on my right side, facing this way, away from me. But it didn't stop there. The last attack was more violent because it left a welt of a scratch about the size of my index finger. And it was in a curved shape. And this wasn't a bloody scratch. This is what was a welt of a scratch that wouldn't heal for less than 4 weeks. So it got kind of ugly. And I thought it would end with this doll, but you know, ever since I got her, she's kind of woken the sleeping giant. Now all these dolls are coming to life, and they all have their own names. And the next one I had was totally different. Jasmine, the possessed clown doll, was totally different. And hopefully I still have time to tell you. And yeah, I still had time to tell you, so I had to check the video, YouTube fans. Now, Jasmine, if you don't know who Jasmine is the possessed clown doll I have. She was the one that got all this mess started with this Morse code stuff. Now, how did I know Morse code is my little cousin knows it. His name is Bobby. But, you know, consider him to know it. And then I team up with a partner to do this ordeal episodes. And we called it, you know, Communicating with Our Spirit Friends. The very first one, I teamed up with a Creepy Ghost Hunter Jr. If you don't know who he is, he's my cousin, is what I meant to say. But you know, I teamed up with him to do the series, and we thought it would just end with Jasmine alone, but then all the other dolls are now communicating the same way. So we're now already up to Communicating with Our Spirit Friends Part 6. You know, this nightmare is still not over with. Trying to figure out their names. I can tell you this, I don't name them anymore. I decided not to play that game, so I let them name themselves by allowing themselves, you know, give us Morse code back, and the only one that can translate it back to me is actually Creepy Ghost Hunter Jr. And then I go by the name and release that name to all you YouTube fans and all you non-YouTube fans, plus all you DieHard Creepy Doll Man fans out there too. But you know, I've been doing this for a very long time. And you know, that's how it's been. Now, I'm checking out to see how much time I have left. I'm sorry. You know, cameraman's telling us we're going to have to roll a little faster. Well, I didn't end with there. Other things start happening. I caught videos left and right showing orb activity. That's what my friend said, named Eric. And Eric's been a close friend of mine. He told me there was orb activity first. And I said, what's this? And he said, it's an orb spirit. That I showed them videos I had, because I have other weird videos besides that. And I've been capturing stuff that you wouldn't believe on these videos. And then next ordeal, I got different ones of one of the dolls smiling, which is probably the least famous here, is Alice the Haunted Doll smiling in one of the videos. I showed it to a lady who worked at Kroger. This is how I got my famous name to this very day. It was a heavyset lady. I forgot what her name was, but I can tell you this. I got this name from her. She gave me 2 names. She called me by accident. The first one was the one I went with. She called me the Creepy Doll Man. The next time she said my name. She called me the Creepy Doll Guy, and I decided to go with the very first one to this very day. If it wasn't for that lady, by showing her my videos and evidence of weird things happening, I wouldn't got the famous name at all. Now, this lady worked at Kroger for a very short time, and sad to say, she either quit her job or just up and disappeared like in thin air. But I'll continue this when I get ready to do part 2. Part 2 is now ending, so be watching for the conclusion of the real Creepy Doll Man, or I should say the return of the real Creepy Doll Man from Louisville, Kentucky, and his true stories. Still untold, second coming. Part 3 begins next. Watch for it.